Hello, welcome to Dynasty Degens on the Dynatize Network, baby. I'm excited for today. We had Lobo in here. Lobo left. We had to wait for Lobo to come back, but Lobo is back, baby. Lobo, what's
He's
up, man?
here.
How you doing?
What's up, fellas? I mean, dude, what perfect / terrible timing. Perfect timing in the sense of it was right before we started. Shitty timing just because of where we were, but here we are, man. So good to see both of you. Birdman, very nice to meet you. But I mean, dude, always such a good time to see both of you. So stoked to be here, man.
I'm excited to have you. We're talking backstage. I haven't had you on the pod in about at least a year. I always judge based on like how old my friends' kids are at this point. You told me your kids too. I think that it's been at least a solid year since we talked about your kids. So I'm glad to have you on, man. I'm glad to be talking about what we're talking about today because I think that a lot of people always want to talk about the top prospects in Dynasty. They want to talk about the guys that they're ranking, their top 12 rankings. These are how I see them. I don't think that's actionable. You really I know that you like JSN. You like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, I do too. I think everyone does at this point. I get it. It's all good. Today we're talking about the back end guys, the dumpster guys, like the guys that are probably thrown away in dynasty leagues, people that you don't value or, essentially might have been dropped in some cases or just kind of just thrown away or not even valued as far as like the rookies that are we're talking about today. And it's funny because, you see the DC, you see where these guys go. They're in good situations, but people still don't believe in them. And that's okay. We do. And that's why we're talking about them today. So we're going to get into it right now. And we're starting off with my man Lobo. So we're talking about his man, Kalen Black. Kalen Black is definitely undervalued, the direct handcuff to CMC. Tell me a little bit why you like this guy and why you're dumpster diving for Kalen Black.
Yeah, well, I mean, a couple different reasons, right? Good offense. And when I'm looking at these rookie players, one of the things that I look at really tends to be, sure, opportunity. What are we looking to look at for opportunity perspective? But what I really tend to look at is historically, what kind of impact do these players make behind, obviously, the CMCs of the world. And I mean, in this situation, Isaac Guerrero, tends to kind of be that guy that comes to mind. He's injured. And then you look at Jordan James, another name that everyone was talking about, right? It felt like this offseason, it was like you're either on the Kalen Black train or you're on the Jordan James train. Well, then he breaks his ribs. And then now we're looking at, I mean, it seems like everyone in San Francisco is getting hurt, but we're looking at, this running back who was drafted overall. You're talking third round. So there's draft capital there. Sure, not first or second, but we're talking third round draft capital for a guy in the San Francisco offense. 90th overall. First of all, that to me is a green flag, right? You're looking at the draft capital, the investment that they're putting in a guy like this. Secondly, he's coming off his best season in college, right? 1,000-yard rushing season in Indiana. And then lastly, overall, some of the big things that I like about him in particular is the reports have actually been that obviously he stepped up now. CMC has whatever kind of injury he's got right now. He's coming, and the thing about CMC, as we all know, is there's some risk there. He's coming off a 430 touch season. Before that, he was hurt. Before that, consecutive back-to-back seasons of 350-plus touches. Dude, you're talking about a guy who is going to see the field. Jordan James, I mean, those broken ribs, even when he does come back, Kalen Black's going to be one step ahead of him. And you're talking about Guerrero, same thing. They know what they have in Guerrero, potentially know what they have in Jordan James. They're going to figure out what they got in this guy. I mean, and to have the handcuff in the league's best running back, who, again, is coming off a 400-touch season, dude, I have been drafting this guy either in the late fourth in every rookie draft, or to your point, is just picking him off waivers, dude. Like I just checked before our pod today, in a good amount of my dynasty leagues. I'm ashamed to say how many I am in, but in around 30% of them, he's still available. So overall, just I mean, I'm big on this guy. If we're talking about dumpster diving, this is one of the guys that could end up being a solid value.
Hey, I have him in the Creators League that we're in. So if,
I know you do.
You want to float something around, Kalen Black for 28 first or whatever. I don't know, something. just slide it in my inbox later today. I obviously like him. I have him in a lot of leagues. Mm-hmm. You got to go for the Shanahan running back, 100%. And you could be wrong half of the time, but when you're right half of the time, it's beautiful. And Chris, are you in on Kalen Black? Obviously, you got to be on any guy that's backing up CMC, right? He's a healthy body behind CMC. That's already enough for me.
Anybody on a good offense, you get the handcuffs. It's very simple. Like these teams that are good offenses, they just throw a body in there and those guys fall into the end zone. Boom. They're worth a starting spot in your lineup.
Keep that energy, man, because we're talking about your guy next, and he's another handcuff that is directly behind a top end running back, an elite running back, a guy that is going to be profiled as a workhorse this year. And you didn't choose the popular option, the guy that I guess had wanted posters all over and was hyped up a little bit,
baby.
Tell me why you want Kamani Vidal now.
I did not
in the dumpster.
Pick the popular option, which is Keaton Mitchell, the, I guess, medium profile signing, right, by the Chargers this offseason. And he's all, very fast. I get it. And he fits the McDaniel mold, right, in getting speed. However, Kamani Vidal is not too bad either, right? Let's look at his numbers from last year. We've got 4 weeks where he was pretty much kind of a week winner for anybody that plugged him into their lineup. 3 weeks over 20 points, 1 week just under at 18 points, depending on your scoring format. Kamani Vidal can play, guys. And Keaton Mitchell is not somebody where if the unfortunate happens and Omarion Hampton does go down, which happened last season, we all saw, Kamani Vidal pumped into the lineup and put up these great weeks. Now, this was a dude who I liked in the draft process, smaller school, but came out of that school and showed enough that he could make the roster and made his way up to be the handcuff for Hampton last season. And I'm still in on this guy where if Hampton goes down, I don't see Keaton Mitchell as a kind of guy that's going to be able to get you 15 plus touches in a game. Vidal proved that he could do that last season. So if Hampton is out, I think that the Chargers do the smart thing and they just keep Mitchell in his role, which is going to be somebody who gets you anywhere from 5 to 7 touches a week, right? That's what McDaniel's looking for. Plug him in there, change of pace guy. And that's where he benefits that offense. Vidal, though, was pretty much a 1-for-1 replacement for Hampton. If you look at the numbers, Vidal's a little bit more of a bowling ball type runner than Hampton. Hampton can do it all. I mean, I don't know which side of the aisle you're in on Hampton, Lobo there, but I'm definitely in on Hampton. I think he can definitely be easily a top 10 back, if not top 5 back this season, depending on how many times he falls into the end zone with that Chargers offense. But Vidal can do the same thing. Proved it last year. I don't see any reason different this season. As soon as Keaton Mitchell's gotten drafted in my startups this year, boom, I know my next pick is Kamani Vidal. I love it. That's all I've done. I've just waited for Keaton Mitchell to get drafted, and Vidal is my next pick. It's as simple as that. So I'm still
Where do I land on Hampton? Hampton's my dynasty RB4, dude. So
where is he at?
RB4.
He's RB4 for me too. I got him right behind Love. So I don't know if you have Genty or Love at 3.
I've got Love at 3.
Yeah, I have Hampton ahead of Genty. I think that they were close enough profile-wise to where being on the Chargers outweighs being on the Raiders. It's really kind of simple like that.
Yeah, it comes down to offensive scheme and offensive just potential, man. I'm right there with you. Huge on Hampton, but if he goes down, this is the guy I want.
Nice,
man. I think with that word, we're lined up right here, and that's pretty nice. I think that I agree with you, Chris. Where Kamani Vidal did show that he was capable of taking on the heavier workload last year, and I think that Keaton Mitchell likely is better served in that role, and is better served as that pass catcher, that change of pace guy. Especially coming off a major injury, he didn't play last year. We're talking about a guy that probably is going to be. I'm not going to say ponied up a little bit, but they're going to take good care of him. They went and signed him. They went and looked for him. I think that they're not going to overuse him. They're not going to put him in the ringer. And I think they want to see what they have with him. So I'm going to keep this going, and I'm going to continue the trend of handcuffs. I'm going pretty deep on this guy. I'm going Ray Davis out of Buffalo, and a lot of people go against this take. I think that he is the handcuff that you want in Buffalo. He didn't get the usage that you want to see last year, but I think that Buffalo also wasn't in the position with James Cook being an absolute monster to really just like slide anybody in there and just say, hey, I want to give this guy the ball over James Cook, who was a weapon in the open field and was just obviously super efficient in the backfield. But when you look at Ray Davis efficiency numbers, and we're talking about his average efficiency, even with this small usage, I looked at the big numbers, and I'm looking at the EPA. So above average for a backup running back, rushing yards over expectation plus 2.72. So that puts him in the positive. Efficiency 2.89. His juke rate 19.1. He makes people miss, and he's got an explosive rating of 111.3 overall, which puts him at a high explosive rate. And I think that we're looking at it from a perspective of we're looking at Ty Johnson, right? Ty Johnson is much like a Keaton Mitchell in the sense that he's going to catch passes and he's going to be that guy, but he's never going to have that workhorse role. He's 28 years old. He's got bad knees. Nobody wants to see him running 20 times a game. I promise you, it's not going to happen. If James Cook goes down, we don't want to see Ty Johnson in there as the workhorse role. It's not going to be pretty. You're going to see Josh Allen running 30 times a game, I think, at that point. But we did see a lot from even last year when James Cook didn't play week 18. We're talking about, let me see the numbers right here. We're talking about 21 carries for 150 yards. He just slid right in and got a cool 150 yards. Yeah, it was the Jets, but the fact that he did show efficiency, that he can work within this offense, he's an above-average pass catcher. I want Ray Davis everywhere because he is going in the 20th, 22nd rounds. He's just like dead zone, like beyond dead zone. You know what I mean? You can get him for a fourth or a fifth if you wanted to. If you have a James Cook share, go try to trade for Ray Davis for a fourth. I bet you can get some bites on a fourth. I bet somebody for a 27 fourth is going to – I'd gladly sell a 27 fourth for possibly the handcuff to a he's kind of a bell cow, when we're talking about James Cook right now. He is a bell cow. So I'm with it. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on Ray Davis, but I think that I was in the Discord with Dustin Ludke, and he did not like this take at all. So that one's for you, Dustin.
What was
he just owns a lot of James Cook? That's all.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was the reasoning there?
He just, I don't know. He's a Buffalo Bills fan, and he thinks that Ray Davis is just not a good running back. And I think he
did very well when he was called upon last season, which wasn't very often, but when he was called upon, he did the job, and that's all he's going to be.
Legit running back in college too, obviously coming in, he worked. Yep. He was Kentucky, Vanderbilt. I think that, he's just a solid guy, reminds me of like a Seth McGowan type guy. Like I think he's winning the RB2 role right now on the Colts. He's just a hard-nosed runner and he just does things the right way. He's a guy that does his blocking well. He does his reads. He picks up the blitz. Like he's good pass pro, he's a guy that the coaches fall in love with. And I mean, I'm in on it, dude. We're dumpster diving, baby. This guy is way back there. So Lobo, we're back to you, man. Let's have some, wait. Who is this? Chris?
Oh, he's got my guy up.
Oh, we're going Chris. Chris, we're going to you now. I'm sorry.
We're going real deep for this one. Vidal was somebody who, yes, people know about. Devin Neal, maybe not so much. If you were, into rookie profiles last season, Devin Neal was somebody who a lot of people were in on, right? And then he fell to the 6th round, unfortunately, right? This is a kid who 3 years in a row, over 1,000 yards at Kansas. Some people thought he could go as high as the 3rd or 4th round. I figured he could make it into the 4th round, somewhere in there, but he did fall to the 6th round. And so he was behind Kamara last season. Now, though, we've got the regime of Kellen Moore. He seems to like that. Kellen Moore, that is, seems to like Devin Neal a little bit more than Kendre Miller. And that's where the battle really comes down to. Does he beat out Kendre Miller? And does Kamara stay hurt enough, really, so that when ETN eventually gets banged up, it's Devin Neal that gets the opportunity. And that's really where I'm at here. I like the Saints offense, the direction that it's going in. Even though I'm a Bucs fan, I am a little leery of this offense in my division. I'm definitely more scared of the Saints offense than the Falcons offense. I'll put it that way. And definitely for sure more so than the Panthers offense. And so if Devin Neal gets 2 or 3 weeks where he is the main guy, I think he can get you 80 yards and a touchdown. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. So he can kind of do it all. I think he can do more than what Ray Davis can do. Okay. But Ray Davis is on a better offense. I'll say that. And he doesn't have a guy like Ty Johnson, who is, a perfect profile as a third down back. Devin Neal actually can be a 3-down guy if he gets the opportunity. And so we're dumpster diving here. Bottom of the roster of dynasty rosters. If you look at my profile, which I'll challenge you, Lobo, for how many teams you have. We'll take a look. We'll talk afterwards. But Devin Neal is somebody who I've been scooping up left and right now because he is available. Like Kamani Vidal is not available. He's somebody that either you've been drafting late in startups or he's already rostered. Now you can get Vidal easily thrown in on the back end of deals if you want, but you're not going to find him too often on your waivers. Devin Neal, he's somebody you might find there. So go check your waiver wire out.
Devin Neal reminds me a lot of, what I just mentioned about Kalen Black, where, people were kind of taking that approach of like, hey, backup for a good offense, last year's offense was, it started to show some light, but obviously Kellen Moore led offense and reminds me of that situation a lot. But to your point, I think he's kind of the forgotten man there, especially because they brought in Etienne. So love this one, dude.
Yeah, I'm with it. I've been a big Devin Neal guy. I had a rookie profile on Devin Neal last year. I went and dug deep on him, and he is that guy that you like in college, that back that does it all. And for whatever reason, the NFL doesn't like him. It's kind of like Jonah Coleman and honestly everybody in this class this past year. That you did this like these deep dives on these guys. I did at least. And I'm like, oh, this is like, I love this guy. Mike Washington Jr., he does everything the right way. And then he goes in the 6th, 7th round. You're like, well, what the hell did I do all that work for? But, I think that there's still value here. There's still these guys that you saw for a reason. You saw the Bucky Irvings. You saw what they did. And you're like, I believe in them still. And I think that there still could be a path, and even though they didn't get the DC and the NFL doesn't value them, that doesn't mean they still can't have the opportunity and show that they can do it.
I do think that the key here is that I feel like Kellen Moore likes him a little bit more than Kendre Miller. And that's really what it boils down to.
I think the real question is here, does anybody like Kendre Miller, unfortunately?
That's the thing, right? Like, I don't think Kendre Miller likes Kendre Miller. I don't think that there is I think Kendre Miller looks in the mirror in the morning and says, oh, you suck, dude.
Stay out of the blue tent today. Stay out of the blue tent.
The meme where he's like pointing in the mirror and he's looking at himself and he's like, yeah, you, dude, you're the one that ruined my life. Like, you're the guy. Yeah. I don't know. Like, what? Kendre Miller's never working out. I gotta tell anybody if he's on your dynasty roster,
drop him.
Drop him. Go drop him for Devin Neal. Because Kamara is already banged up, and Etienne, he does have some concerns. Obviously, coming off the ACL, or no, he had the oh man, what did he have 2 years ago? He had Achilles.
Etienne or
yeah,
Kamara?
he did Achilles. No, yeah. Had the Achilles, right?
Achilles, yeah.
I think that he's a shifty back, so he could be the direct cuff if Kamara is injured. Say Kamara gets another injury. I don't know if he's even going to come back. He'll probably just say, no, I'm good. Right. I'm good. Yeah. I don't think he wants to go out that way, but I also think that if he keeps getting dinged up, I don't see a reason why he should go out with, people got to take care of themselves, man.
Yeah, I agree.
But we're going to my guy now. So I swapped the order, baby. I went all the way around. I'm sorry. I'm mixing myself up over here. So I went Elijah Arroyo. I think that he's the lesser liked tight end in Seattle. I think that that's for a good reason. Obviously, we saw what the other tight end could do. I'm not going to name him right now because I've talked about him ad nauseum, and Chris loves him. So, but Elijah Arroyo to me is a move tight end, and that we see that in the modern NFL. And we say move tight end, he's a guy that doesn't line up in an orthodox position. He doesn't line up in a specific inline, and it's just not the way that he plays. He can be a stretch guy. He's got a good route tree. He's savvy. He can actually use footwork. He is. I did this before, and I'll do it again. He is kind of like that guy that was in New England years ago that didn't pan out and, did some time and, is not around with us anymore. But he does have that same type of footwork and that route running ability where he is a hybrid wide receiver and on an offense that doesn't really have another guy. You could say Torrey Horton's going to break out or, Rashid Shaheed is the next guy up, but those guys are boundary guys. They're like, Shaheed is like a sacrificial X. If we're going to say he's anything, he's not an X, but he's a guy that goes out there and runs the fly routes, the go routes. He's like a straight line runner. There's no route tree attached to Shaheed. And that's just the reality of it. So if you have a guy working in the middle, a guy that can, do like a little, intermediate routes and stuff like that, I think Elijah Arroyo's the guy. I watched him in college. I mean, I see, the vertical field stretcher, good frame. He's got a good catch radius. There's a lot to love on this guy right here. And if they run 2 tight end sets, I think he's probably going to benefit a lot in an offense that's going to be starving for playmakers. And I think they're going to have to change this offense up without Kenneth Walker. I think they're going to have to do a little bit more in the passing game. I don't think the run game is going to be as efficient without Sharp and Walker. I don't see that they're going to be able to, tote the ball 20, 30 times a game and then have Darnold just kind of dink and dunk. I think they're going to have to do a little more to win games this year. Chris, I know how you feel about Elijah Arroyo. I'll skip right over you, man. Lobo, how you feel? How you feeling about Elijah Arroyo, man? You like what I just?
I love him, dude. Last year, I was extremely big on him. I still am. And so when I saw you put this guy on the list, dude, I was super excited to kind of just hear what you had to say because I think to your point, I think that Seattle offense looks a little different this year. And so to your point, they're not going to be pounding like that rock all the time, whether it's Price. Whether it's, what's his name, George Halani. It doesn't matter who's there. Sharp is not going to be 100%. And I know reports are that he looks fantastic. He looks incredible. It's going to take time for him to ramp up, dude. So I just think that offense is going to run through the pass. And I think Elijah Roy is going to benefit from that. I think to your point, that 2 tight end formation, he's going to benefit a lot from that. And so we should see that early on as either Sharp recovers, Price gets involved and gets ramped up at the NFL level. I love Arroyo.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Let me say, I don't dislike Arroyo. It's just that I really like AJ Barner, and I don't see Barner losing snaps. It's really about snap share. And so I just liken this offense to what was going on in Baltimore with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. And Arroyo, unfortunately, is what Isaiah Likely was in Baltimore. And so he's going to have his weeks here and there, and he's got plenty of talent. It's just that if I'm really looking at it and being honest about it, Barner is the one that's still going to consistently score points here.
And I don't disagree with that. At this point, we're talking about a guy that's going about 7 or 8 rounds later than Barner.
Absolutely.
And that's why,
yeah. I don't need Arroyo. It's just, yeah.
You can get both, and you can just kind of mix and match and see how it plays out. But I'm not going to say he's going to go take Barner's job. I think that Barner,
I think Arroyo, to slot is his honey hole. If he gets enough slot snaps, he could.
I think Seattle could easily run a 2 tight end set consistently, and I think that to what I was saying, Shaheed. They don't really have a slot. Who is the slot receiver? Is Cooper Kupp still going to work within that role? It's tough. They are starving. That was the team that I almost guaranteed would take a wide receiver or get a wide receiver somehow. Everyone was like, there's no way the Super Bowl, Super Bowl winners, excuse me, the guys coming off of the ring aren't going to at least get another playmaker. You know, I think they got a lot of slack for not doing that. But I mean, their offense, without that heavy run game attached to it, I don't see them being very efficient. I see it kind of taking a step back.
I agree.
You know, Kubiak's gone, and you're looking at, you know, teams really, really playing JSN to the degree where they're not worried about anybody else. You know, yeah, Shaheed can break out for a big play once in a while, you know, but that's MVS work. You know, that's like pretty much, hey, you know, you can give up a big play every once in a while, and it shouldn't affect you to the degree that you think it would. You know, I'm not worried about that as a defense. I think that taking JSN away and living with the big play that Shaheed could have, you know, if you have another guy that keeps them in check, you're going to free up JSN, and that's going to just open up the entire offense.
Could be Arroyo. I mean, he's a mismatch on linebackers for sure. So
yeah, I mean, you see the camp clips, you see him kind of working, and obviously on linebackers, he just puts the work on him, you know, he's wide faster. Open. And
he's faster. Yeah,
he gets a lot of separation.
Simply.
Let's keep it moving though, boys.
Yeah.
This is Lobo now. We're going back to Lobo. Yeah, here we go, baby.
So
let's go.
I guess we're big on a Kellen Moore offense. Huh?
Yeah.
Dude, so Bryce Lance, man, picking up a lot of steam over the last few weeks, especially with Jordan Tyson and the news that he's going to be out for, you know, about 2 months. But even before that, man, this was someone who I was actually really big on. Again, end of rookie drafts, late 4th round, undrafted in so many rookie drafts, you know, still available in a lot of rookie drafts out there. He should not be. If he's available in your dynasty league, go get him. There's a lot of things to like about this kid. 4th round overall pick. I mean, at his size, to be able to run a 4.3 is pretty impressive. You're talking about a guy who's 6'3", over 200 pounds. To be able to kind of fit that mold, and to your point earlier, Birdman, was like on a Kellen Moore offense, dude, get me in someone like that. And then when I look at the other wide receivers in that room, I mean, you're talking about Chris Olave, by far wide receiver one in that offense. You're looking at Tyson being out for 2, maybe more, maybe longer, and he's a rookie. He's got to get ramped up. He's not going to come in and immediately have that impact. I mean, obviously, you're looking at Lance also being a rookie, but he will have 6-7 weeks on Tyson. And you're looking at, again, Mason Tipton, the other guy. I mean, Devon Vele, I mean, dude, he's about to retire soon. You know, really, really old rookie. Bub Means, Barian Brown, but I mean.
Barian Brown.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at these names and you're like, dude, where's the ball going? Kamara's hurt. Where's the ball going? It's got to go somewhere. Show passed for over like 30 pass attempts from the time that he took over in the 11 games that he was as a starter. They're going to be passing the ball. And, I mean, again, when they pass it, it's got to go somewhere. Sure, Juwan Johnson's going to get his share. But when you're looking at guys who I think can step up and immediately make an impact, it's him, dude. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons at North Dakota. I just think there's a lot to like about this guy. And even when Tyson was healthy in camp, the reports were that he was still lighting up, just on the offense. He was kind of establishing a role for himself anyways. But I'm excited to see what he can do, man. So obviously I went back-to-back rookies here, dumpster diving. But these are some of those guys that, again, you can get in the late 4th. If not, undrafted, go get them. They're worth the shot to take on.
Yeah, I think this is a year where, I mean, you look at the rookies coming out, and the first round of our rookie drafts is already falling apart, right? Tyson, Mekhi Lemon banged up. Just look at the guys. Jordan Price banged up. Jadarian Price banged up. The late rounds are going to have to hit somewhere. And Bryce Lance, sure, why not? I mean, as a Bucs fan, again, I've got nightmares of Saints, deep diving Saints wide receivers running 9 routes and scoring touchdowns. It's just, it goes back to Sean Payton's offense. And Kellen Moore's got the same style. And I just, it could be Bryce Lance. It could be Barian Brown. I don't know. Every given week, I think that Bryce Lance has more like ceiling potential than Barian Brown. So I understand going after Bryce Lance over Brown.
Yeah.
I did a Bryce Lance pod, right, with a Green Bay guy, and this is Matt Froelich. If you don't know Matt, he's a big media presence in Green Bay, and they love obviously the North Dakota guys. They love these guys that are just like lunch pail wide receivers. And I think that Bryce Lance fits that mold. We talked about Bryce Lance for longer than I talked with like everybody about anybody. I think I did a whole hour and a half of Bryce Lance. Then we talked about Bryce Lance for another 10 minutes out backstage. And then I was like, I got to go to bed, dude. I'm tired. But like, you know what? I am in on Bryce Lance. I am absolutely in. When you look at the tape, you do see a lot of contested catch stuff. You see a lot of, people are hyping up the Ravens guy, when we're talking about somebody that can go up and get the ball. He's got the contested catch. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm talking about Jacoby Lane. Obviously has the insane hype right now. He is somebody that has that type of ability that can go up and get the ball. He tracks the ball really well. That's what I love about his game. He elevates the quarterback. He's a player that makes the quarterback look better, and I do have PTSD with the Lance brothers, and I do have PTSD with the last name. Big Trey Lance guy. I was really – I was very. Yeah. If you're a rushing quarterback and you're getting drafted and you show me that you have that rushing ability, there was a time and a place in my life where I dropped everything and went and drafted you. I didn't care. I did not care if you couldn't throw the ball. Justin Fields signed me up. Anthony Richardson signed me up. I was big on Trey Lance, and I was saying, hey, if you're going to go trade, this is where my mind was. I was like, you're going to trade like 3 first for a guy, this guy's going to be in it forever. Yeah. There's no way you can bench
offense.
There's no way you can bench a guy you traded that much for, right? That's naive me, talking to my friends like, dude, they couldn't trade that much. That's like sunken fallacy. I used to say that all the time. Sunken like who the hell says shit like that? I was a sunken fallacy, dude. And so stupid, dude.
And the beautiful thing about that was, dude, at the time, because I was right there with you, I was in love, dude. I was in love, and I was just so blind to think, oh, this, when was Purdy drafted? 6th, 7th round, right? Like, I mean, just like
last pick.
Yeah, last pick.
It was the last pick.
In my head, people from the very beginning of time when that QB competition kind of started brewing, I was like, shut the hell up. There's no way that this, Mr. Irrelevant comes in and beats out where, this team can just give up their entire future for. Like, get out of here. Well, Brock Purdy was one of those guys that was probably in a podcast somewhere where people were saying, hey, pick this guy up. Who knows what happens.
Yeah. And I think the Niners just took all those draft picks and they shifted them and were like, well, we spent all those picks on Brock Purdy. And here we are.
Well,
one thing I wanted to mention real quick, you did mention it, Lobo, but with the Tyson injury, I do think that the biggest beneficiary actually sneakily is Juwan Johnson.
Yeah.
That dude was 3rd in receiving yards last year at tight end. I mean,
they're kind of bringing back their offense from last year. I think the run game improves, but like from a pass catching perspective, it's just Olave and Juwan Johnson. And then there's ancillary pieces, there's all these little like pieces, but if Show's going to jump, like people expect him to, and to make, obviously he showed at the end of the year that he was progressing and he was showing an ability to get the ball out to random guys. He kind of had like a Stroud type of rookie year where like he was elevating Vele and like these random guys every once in a while. And they were like, like remember Stroud's rookie year? They're like Tank Dell's better than Amon-Ra St. Brown type deal. Like that's kind of what we're seeing with Show. Like he was just like cooking with all these random guys. Juwan Johnson suddenly became a tight end 1, and it was like, it might be much of the same, but I think Bryce Lance is going to see a lot of open looks in the end zone. Outside of everything else, I think you're still going to get some touchdowns out of this guy this year, right?
Yeah. You're getting something because it's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Out there, keep in mind, like these dudes, all you need is for them to pop 1 or 2 weeks, and then you can trade them for a second. I mean, that's really working the dynasty market. That's ideally what ends up happening with these guys. We're not saying any of these guys are going to become the next Puka Nacua, because that happens once every, 25 years or something. All you need is for them to pop enough, to give them enough juice to become like Jalen McMillan or whatever, right? So that you can flip them for a second rounder.
Yeah.
And that's winning at Dynasty.
I mean, if there's any class to do it, it's this class. You know, we see like the Cyrus Allens and the Caleb Douglases, and these guys are getting traded for 28 firsts right now. People are really in on, hey, you know what? They could be right. They could be wrong. I mean, I'm going to say that history has told me they're going to be wrong, but I was wrong on Puka. I will own that take every day that I have the opportunity to do it. Cause I said, there's no way I'm trading a first for Puka. You know?
Yeah, Nerdboy. For every time that you're wrong on a Puka Nacua, you win in the end by trading all of those guys for second rounders. You win in the long run. Well,
you do, you know, but then every once in a while you do get slapped in the face a little bit.
I mean, Amon-Ra did kind of the same thing for you. You know, Amon-Ra had a little bit longer of a run there at the end of his season, and you pretty much could get a first easily for him that next offseason.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I did, and this is one of the greatest trades I've ever pulled off, I think, in the history of dynasties and all of the lands. I had James Robinson coming off of Jacksonville's RB1 season, and then we had CeeDee Lamb coming off of a disappointing rookie year.
Sure.
James Robinson for CeeDee Lamb, straight up. Boom.
Oh, dude.
He needed a running back. I needed a wide receiver. I said,
robbery.
Even when I did it, I said, it feels gross, dude. I don't know if I like it. You know, like,
dude, I almost got a James Robinson jersey. That guy was,
But yeah, that was definitely one of the, I'll tell when my kid gets old enough, I'm going to sit him on my lap and say, hey, brother, listen.
You got to put that on the grave, brother. That's
yeah. All right, let's go. Oh man, I went with one of my guys again. So I'm just doing too much talk. I'm sorry, but I had to throw this guy on here. His ADP isn't as decrepit as everyone else's. I don't think he's as far down. He's next to guys like Jerry Jeudy. You know, and you know, it is funny that Booty and Judy go next to each other. I do like the alliteration there. I like how that plays out. But Kayshon Boutte to me is somebody that probably would profile as a wide receiver 2 on a lot of teams right now. I think that he has that ability. We saw him flash with Drake May last year, specifically in the playoffs, you know, against the Texans. I remember that incredible catch. He has good hands. And that's not something that's been taken away from him. His hands, he has those late hands. He's got those show me hands where you can see it a lot in these elite wide receivers. And don't get me wrong, Kayshon Boutte was an elite wide receiver at some point in college, and things kind of fell apart a little bit, but I still see flashes of it, you know, and that's the biggest thing for him. He doesn't show his hands. He has that ability to just get that catch in the last second. And I love watching that about Kayshon Boutte. And he's been flashing. He's been flashing in camp. He's shown that he belongs on a team somewhere. If it's not the New England Patriots, obviously they just took A.J. Brown. They got Romeo Dobbs, and they're working in, you know, whatever. But I still think even if he stays on the Patriots, they could work him in the slot role. They could have both of those guys on the outside, Kayshon Boutte in the slot, and that's where he thrives in college. When we're talking about him being an elite wide receiver, he was playing mostly in the slot in college, and he was killing it. You know, he was once viewed as a top 5 wide receiver in college. And everyone was going, and if you weren't in Devy drafts or C2C drafts back in the day, he was a first-round pick. Yeah. He was going 107, 108, and he was going over the likes of everybody, you know. I saw him go over the Gibbs, the Bijans, everybody. And it is, you know, there's still something there. You can see it in his game. He's a good separator. He absolutely can make the contested catches. He does have good footwork. I think that he can be a viable slot, and he's viewed as like a dead asset right now. I know that he's gotten a little hype in the offseason with making these big catches, and he's got these plays where he does show those late hands and stuff. But I mean, ultimately, you can go get him for a third right now. And I think that if he doesn't stay with New England, he could land on a team. I mean, hell, the Saints could trade for him. We're talking about Bryce Lance right now. If you see Kayshon Boutte on the Saints before the trade deadline, that is money, dude. That's absolute money. I think that him and Olave would kill defenses. I think that they would work so well together. I don't know if he's going to stay with them. I don't think he's happy. They're not extending him. They're not giving him money. They're not really like being too open with him. And he's saying, all right, I'm going to play this out. He's being a professional about it. But like, okay, he stays with New England. They have a great offense and he works in the slot and he has sneaky good value, or he gets traded. He's still somebody that I want to grab everywhere in the 19th, 20th round, wherever he's going right now. He's still undervalued. You guys in on this guy? Cause I think there's across the board, he's probably more of the well-liked dynasty dead asset out there.
I think he's definitely a hold for me, right? If I ended up having him, sure, great. But I don't know that I'm actually going out to buy him. Now, yes, if he were to land in somewhere like New Orleans or Atlanta or the Raiders, you know, he walks into a situation where he's at least the second most talented guy on the team at the position. Raiders, I'd say he'd be the best receiver. But yeah, you can squint and I can see kind of a little Anquan Bolden in him. That's what I kind of saw when he was in college, right? And that's what I was hoping for. But I just think the Patriots are just going to they're just going to hang on to him. I mean, there's a war of attrition at wide receivers every season. You see it happen. Teams lose the first receiver, then a second guy, and all of a sudden they're picking up guys off the couch. And so Kayshon Boutte is just a very versatile guy that I think, honestly, I just think New England's going to hang on to him. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's I guess it depends to your point on how injuries roll out throughout the year. If they're in a place where it's like, you know what, hey, I mean, we were talking about Seattle earlier, right? I mean, you know, not putting it into out there, but let's just say one of their wide receivers gets hurt. Who else do they have? I could see a team like Seattle going out and going for buying low, just like the dynasty community has been buying low on this guy right here. And sure. I mean, he immediately turns into, you know, what some people say is a poor man's T. Higgins. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like a lot of these things that come into play. But I mean, I see teams like Seattle where, I mean, even now, even with JSN, they would benefit having a guy like this on the other side. So overall, it's nice to see. But I mean, to your point, he's also a hold for me. I'm not trading him because chances are that value is going to get higher. I mean, I think it was by week when he had that stretch last year. I mean, people were trading him for seconds. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And he's 24 years old. You know, I mean, he's still like 5 years younger than Devon Bailey right now. So the fact that you can get him right now, and he's not even in his peak age, you know, I think that he's still, I would say he's still got almost 2 years until he's like peaked out and he's in his prime, you know? So the fact that he's 24, he feels like he's been in the league for 5 years. You know, I just feel like there's a lot you can like about his game. There's no way, even if he goes to a new team next year, he's 25 years old on a new team. You know, he is like entering, I don't know. I would have rather had seen them. I like Romeo Doubs. I do. But I would have rather said, hey, Kayshon, like, give us what you got. Let's see you in the wide receiver 2 role next to A.J. Brown. You know, I think that he could be that guy. I really do. I think that he has that capability. I think he's going to get that role or that opportunity somewhere, though.
I agree.
All right, let's do it. Chris, I know that we got – so Dynatize guys, if you're in the chat, I apologize. We're pulling all these rookies right now. I didn't realize that I could pull an already charted graph for these guys. And I have these blank charts with their goofy faces with a blank chart right here. And we're too far gone and we're too far in the mix. So we're going to fill this out with conversation right now. There's no graphs. I'm going to do better. Hey, new brand. We're getting to it, baby. We're just digging out the little, you know, figuring out the little trenches and holes here. Chris, you're talking about the Patriots again, man. We did back-to-back Patriots. I didn't realize we're doing this. Tell me why you're in on Jam Miller, because that backfield looks, I don't know, occupied to me.
Well, it's occupied by 2 guys, and you run a 2-back system. If either of them gets injured, somebody's got to fill in that role. Like Ramondre gets hurt, Travion Henderson is not built to carry the ball 25 plus time or have 25 touches a week. They're going to have somebody else there, another body. And, if Travion Henderson goes down. It's the same with Ramondre. They don't want to bang him 25 times a week. As built as Ramondre is, he's more effective if he's just getting, the 15 touch range weekly. And so, that as a Patriots fan, but I mean, for the rest of the community, they seem to think that, let's just cross our fingers that one of them gets hurt and the other guy's just going to explode, right? Sure, Travion will get more touches if Ramondre goes down. Yes, you would definitely benefit from it. I mean, look at what he did last season. But the fact is, somebody's still going to be there to possibly get goal line touches. I mean, Terrell Jennings was a hot waiver wire pickup 1 week last year. So, Jam Miller is a better version of Terrell Jennings. We'll just put it that way. Now, Jam Miller doesn't look all that exciting on the surface. 500, 600 yards rushing each of his last 2 seasons at Bama. 7th rounder, 245th overall, but he's built like an NFL running back. He's 5'11", 220. This guy can play, and he will be ready when called upon. He had 55 yards last week and a touchdown. Like, the Patriots are giving him work, seeing what they have, and I think that what has Jermichael Hasty done in his career that New England is all excited to keep him over a Jam Miller type back, who, again, he's just built like a real NFL running back, and I think that it would be a great 1-2 punch if either of the top 2 guys go down. That's really all it is. It's a good offense. They're going to score points. They're projected by Vegas to score a bunch of points. Like, let's get in on it. Again, the bottom of the roster in dynasties are made for handcuff running backs. And that's how I build my rosters. And that's how I fill in week to week starters. And if they aren't in my starting lineup, I'll flip them for whatever I can get. And that's how I pile on the 3rd, 4th rounders, a 2nd rounder if I can get it. That's how you win in the bottom of your roster. Churn and burn, baby.
Yeah. Jam Miller's a nasty pull, dude. I feel like that is like the bottom of the bottom. He is absolutely available in probably 80 to 90.
That's why I picked him, because I literally just picked him up in like 4 leagues this week.
Yeah, you can grab him wherever you are. I think he's going to be out there.
It was like the perfect pod for this week.
I do like the Bama running backs. I mean, the Bama running backs always pan out somehow, some way. If you went to Alabama and you're a running back and you go to the NFL, you get some sort of tread. You're like you're out there in some manner. You get to see the field somehow, some way. I think that you're right. Jam Miller, Hasty, it'll get ugly if Rom or Travion go down. I don't think that either one is going to get that full lion's share. The Patriots never just have a workhorse. That's not how they are. They don't have a Derrick Henry where they can just say, here's 30 carries a game. I like Ramondre Stevens, but I don't want to see him running it 30 times. And that's the reality of it. I don't know. Lobo, how you feel about I mean, I know that you like Travion. I think that you might have a take, but you got any – I don't know how much you can talk about Jam Miller, honestly. But
I think, you know that this was definitely at the bottom of the dumpster. But, again, if we're talking about going dumpster diving, this is one of the pieces you want to come back with. I don't have much besides, if and when your dynasty league has the taxi squad, he's a great taxi squad player. And that's where he should be, right? Put him in the taxi to kind of just see where he goes. But the stars have to align, kind of like in Hercules, for him to have some role in that offense.
Yeah, it's just look at the injuries that happened this last week, and you'd rather have healthy bodies on your team than injured guys, right? Yeah. When we're talking 3rd and 4th running backs on squads, the 3rd running back sometimes just ends up being the guy on the team because he can actually play special teams. So I don't know if Jam Miller got special teams work last week or not, but typically if you're a Patriot, you better figure out how to play special teams or you're not going to be on the roster. So I don't know.
All right. That's Jam Miller for you, folks.
That's Jam Miller.
Jam Miller. Let's do it. All right. So this a funny thing, right? I had this man as my guy And Lobo texts me and he goes, no, not Flournoy. And I'm like, brother, he's yours. You can take him.
Oh, here we go. There it is.
I'll talk booty. He's a Cowboys fan. He's going to tell you why this is the guy you want in all of your dynasty dumpsters, wherever you are. Hit it, Lobo. Tell me why.
So, first of all, Flournoy, another old rookie, right? I mean, he's 26 already this year. Rookie season was last year. But there's just something about this offseason for him that is actually really exciting. And that something is a couple of things. One, Jalen Tolbert's gone, right? So Jalen Tolbert actually last year was actually saw a lot of first read shares, first read targets with the Cowboys, which was interesting. So when he was on the field, he was getting a lot of those looks. Flournoy actually nearly doubled what he was seeing. And so when you're looking at a lot of the Flournoy stats, a couple of them that really just caught my attention as I was going through it, his target rate when he actually ran a route was nearly 22% of the time. So it jumps out just because, I mean, Dallas put him, if Dallas was putting him in there were plays dedicated to him. 34 of his 56 targets that he had last year were actually first read targets. So it really was things that they were drawing these up for him. And simply because Pickens and Lamb, I mean, we go back to, where JSN is the focal point of this offense, they were designating plays for Flournoy. And this was even when Tolbert was, having an impact on this offense. And so now he's gone. He's gained size this offseason. There's a lot of things to be excited about. And then one of the things that, when Dak is healthy, he is throwing the ball a lot. So when Dak plays a full 16, 17 games, he throws the ball on average about 580 times a year. And so, I mean, yes, the Cowboys have Javonte Williams. They have, whether it's Maffa or Jaden Blue, who knows what happens at running back for them. I still think they're going to throw the ball a ton. And when you're looking at an explosive offense like Dallas, I really think Flournoy is going to see his fair share. Last thing is Dak trusts him. Out of 29 catches out of his 40 last year were for first downs. Those were the ones that were moving the chains. Again, it just shows these little bits of confidence that we see. And this is all, obviously with Ferguson on the field, with the two guys on the field. So I think that he takes a step forward. And I think there's a world where, back in 2016, the Cowboys nearly had 3 1,000-yard receivers. I'm not saying he's there, but there's a world where, Pickens goes down for a game or two, Lamb goes down for a game or two. This is a guy that can immediately be a plug and play for you guys. And you can get him for cheap.
Hell yeah, dude. Honestly, you tapped on everything that I would have tapped on and more so, obviously. So I'm glad you got this guy. I think that I agree with you. He is somebody that is a direct cuff. And I don't talk about wide receiver handcuffs very often, but this is an important role. This is somebody that you want. You see these guys all the time. They slide in, and it's that's a difference between being a 400 and 800-yard receiver. Somebody goes down, boom. You're definitely going to get the plays. You're going to get – it's a high-powered offense. Obviously, the Cowboys are going to be cooking Dak if fully healthy. I don't like the what is it, the even or the odd year Dak numbers.
Don't put it out there, dude. Don't put it out there.
No, I won't. I already did. I already did a million times, but I won't do it again. I'm sorry. I glazed over that. Yeah, but – I think that we're talking about somebody that is going to jump in, and there's not going to be movement. I think last pod we talked about, maybe they trade Pickens or CD. I don't think they can move either one of those guys right now. I don't think it's going to happen this year, and they're going to be in it. And I think that there's no way they're going to want to move somebody. But what if something happens? What if Pickens gets disgruntled? They want to move off of him. Flournoy all of a sudden is in the number 2 target in a Dak Prescott led offense. And you gotta buy into that. I think that you got to look into these high powered offenses and look at the 3rd or 4th round guy or the 4th tier guy and say, I want a piece of that. Mm-hmm. If you're going to carry 7 wide receivers, at least make the 6th and the 7th one, in a good offense, in this situation where they could jump in for massive target share. It could be like you want the Teslas, the guys on the Lions, where what I mean. If Amon-Ra St. Brown goes down, he's going to jump in and be the wide receiver 2 of that team, or JMO or whoever. Those are the guys that you really want.
Yeah, Chris. Absolutely. I don't know that he can jump up to the level of, I snuck in there, Steve Breston, who was the 3rd 1,000-yard receiver for the Cardinals, or whatever the guy's name was on the Raiders when they pulled it off way back in the day with Rich Gannon. But Flanoy, like, we saw it when CD was out last year. He got his opportunities, and this offense, as consolidated as it is with Pickens, CD, Ferguson, and then Javonte, Flournoy's going to have his moments. So if you're in a best ball format, like a dynasty best ball league, I'm in a dozen of those or ish, somewhere around there. He's a great guy to have, like, because he hits the home run even when CD and Pickens are in there, and boom, he's in your lineup. But yeah, for lineup leagues, as Nerd Boy said, like the 6th or 7th wide receiver on your team, if you're going to roster that many wide receivers and not go super slim, I don't mind Flanoy because, yeah, he is the definition of a wide receiver handcuff.
Yep.
Hell yeah, boys. I'm going to recap this real quick. So we got Flanoy. We're going to go Jam Miller. We got Kayshon Boutte, Bryce Lance, Elijah Arroyo, Devin Neal, Ray Davis. Shout out to you, Dustin. Kamani Vidal, Kalen Black. So those are our dumpster guys. Those are the guys that we want back into dynasty drafts, trade fourths for them, go in and get them, have them be the back end guys on your dynasty roster, and then see what happens. You know, I think that there is a lot of value to be had at the end of dynasty rosters. And man, this pod was there's a ton of value here, man. I am so glad that you came on today, brother. I am so happy that we got you back on. Lobo, drop every piece of content you have coming up, anything that you're cooking. Tell everybody where to find you and all your good stuff, man.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, boys, this was a blast. So anytime y'all need someone, happy to hop on. It was awesome, dude. It's always such a good time to see you, Mike. And I think really where you guys, I mean, obviously you can find me, Lobo's FF Den on X. Obviously one of the big things right now working on, I mentioned it to the boys earlier, but life's been pretty hectic. Over the last couple months, we recently moved states. I'm living now in Colorado, moved from Arizona, but coming out with my top 100 players tomorrow for redraft and dynasty coming out, as well as top 24 players across all positions tomorrow as well. So content will now starting to flow, and just super pumped for the opportunity to be there, you know, tonight with you boys. So it was awesome.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. I'm so happy. And like I said, I think I mentioned this on X and stuff, but you can meet real friends. Lobo, you're my boy. And anytime you want to come on, man, or chop it up, or we talk, we text each other, man. Anytime, dude. You're always welcome on the pod. I appreciate it, Degen, and you're part of the family for sure. Chris, what we got? You dropped the video today, man. Tell people about that.
Yeah. First of all, Lobo, great time with you tonight. Awesome.
Likewise, dude.
Yeah, this morning I dropped my training camp battles, week number 4. We hit up the Cleveland Browns receiver room. We talked about the 3 old, savvy, veteran wide receivers that got signed in the last week to come in and screw up all of those wide receiver rooms that they did. We talked the Najee Harris signing with the Giants, how that's going to possibly screw up or not screw up that running back room for us fantasy wise, and just talked about how those rookie wide receiver hype trains are there, or are they not really there? Should we be buying into them or not? So yeah, we had a lot of fun with it. We'll have mock draft Monday coming out on Monday night, 29.0. We'll be hitting it up. Probably do a little more redraft. It is redraft season, so yes. Hence,
yeah, Lobo, we got to get you on a Monday, man. Doing a mock draft on a Monday, man.
It's fun on that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, that'd be on next. Yeah, if you guys don't have anybody Monday, let's do this upcoming Monday. I'm so down.
We got somebody this Monday. If you can do next Monday, you're locked in, dude. We'll talk about it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, dude. I love it, man. Yeah, for us, we got a lot of stuff cooking on the channel right now. So tomorrow, I am dropping my top 10 for 2027. So the top 10 prospects of 2027. I'm going through the gambit, talking a little bit, a quick hitter. So a 5-minute video, and I'm just going through it. And I'm telling you where I have them, why I have them there. And then I just move to the next guy, and it's a very easy watch. And then we have Saturday Dynasty HQ is doing a video on the channel talking about his late round handcuffs and the guys that he's targeting in redraft. So it's late round targets and redraft that you want to grab up. Really good content, a lot of stuff happening. Once again, Lobo, I appreciate you, man. Your handle is at Lobo FF Den or Lobo's FF Den. Remind me, man.
With an S. Yep.
Lobos. All right.
I got Chris, the new handle. Birdman FF.
Birdman FF. I love it, dude. Clean, baby. Clean. And I'm Nerd Boy. So like, follow, subscribe, all of us. Go on the channel, Dynatize. Go follow us, Dynasty Degens. I got too much going on, man. I got to just plug everything right now. I appreciate you guys. We'll catch you next week. Peace.